So it's official now. Tourism Minister Patricia de Lille says the Tottenham Hotspur SA tourism deal is not going ahead. The planned sponsorship deal attracted major controversy, with questions about the costs and whether it was the right vehicle to attract tourists to our shores. I'm joined now by the Minister herself. Minister, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Why did you ultimately say no to this deal? Was it because it was just a bad marketing idea, money not well spent, or one that was being pursued possibly for the wrong reasons, possibly with a tinge of corruption?
Sally, first of all, I did seek legal opinion first before I have decided to go the route that I've done. And based on the legal opinion, I then wrote to the board on the 22nd of March and asking them some questions, including do they think this is a significant deal that they need to consult with me, and if they are going to consult, when? I have been on board since the 6th of March, and there was no consultations. It's in the best interest of the country and the best interest of the nation that my advice that I gave to the board last week, publicly advising them to stop this proposed deal, the board has now agreed to stop the proposed deal. When we enter into such big transactions and commitments to commit the country and the budget over the next 3 years, we must be careful and carefully consider the value for money. And we also have to weigh up our priorities. Now, I understand that the board did do some due diligence, and they have come to a decision on the 31st of January to proceed with the proposed deal subject to consultation. But where we are now, it's closed. We have to look at how we use that money to promote international tourism, local domestic tourism. And I will continue to engage with the board so that we can find good use for this money going into the future.
So am I understanding correctly that your main concern is it wasn't going to be good value for money?
Yes, that, not good value for money. My second concern was about the legal processes, where the due process has been followed. And then also the whole consultation process. It was subject to consultation with the Minister and the Minister of Finance. And also the legal opinion did find that the whole deal, the way it was structured, is unlawful and illegal.
Do you want to see heads roll over this, or do you believe that it was just a hasty decision and a wrong decision, or do you think that there should be consequences?
Well, I will continue to engage with the board. I also receive a number of questions from Parliament on a daily basis about this proposed deal. I have to dig a bit deeper to find out exactly what other options were they looking at, or did they look at? Was this a sole source procurement because there was no competition? And certainly going into the future, I hope that we can consult with the executive authority from the beginning, so that we can all get involved and look right at the beginning, but not to come and bring almost a fait accompli, a proposed deal to the executive when already some agreements has been made and some money has been spent. So we have to change the way we approach these significant deals going into the future.
Is there a possibility that in the future a similar deal, perhaps with a more high-profile football club, could be sealed, like maybe a Manchester United? In principle, is it something that it could still be pursued with a different club?
Well, I don't think so, Sally. We've got 14 months left in the 6th term of this administration. And there are certainly other priorities that we need to use our resources productively to generate more income. I've had several meetings with the private sector, see how we can work together with the private sector to increase the number of jobs that we can create. For me, that is priority number one. And that is to revive the tourism industry after COVID-19.
I'm reading a very interesting opinion piece that was published in the Business Day online just a few hours ago, written by Guy Sterlick is his name, and I think he's from the Bonn Hotel Group. And he's basically saying that he welcomes your energy coming in as tourism minister, but you have very little time to save the industry because there's huge recovery required after COVID. And he said that the reality is there are so many brilliant ideas already within the industry. He mentions SATSA, the SA Tourism Services Association. He says there's so many brilliant ideas. He's really hoping that you're having those meetings and just looking at all the great ideas already there. Is that what you're doing?
Exactly, Sally. There's just no time anymore for more policies and for more research papers. The private sector, together with SA Tourism, they do have existing plans. And just yesterday, I met with David Frost and SATSA and the rest of the Business Council, and we had agreed. I actually put it back to them. I said, let's look at your existing plans, and you define a role for me within your existing plans so that government can partner with you. Because after all, government must create the environment conducive for the private sector to create jobs. And we've got a good understanding. I certainly am committed to work with the private sector, to work together with our communities. They've got brilliant plans that I must not just make sure that we remove any stumbling blocks in the implementation of plans. And they understood that perfectly. So they are going to lead. I'm allowing them to lead. I'm not going to pretend that I know the sector. I have to rely on their experience. So I'm very hopeful in all my discussions with them that we can find each other. And we've done so already. Yeah. So they must also know the finger pointing and the blaming is over. We're now going to go into this battle together to recover the tourism industry. I'm very excited. I think there are very, very good people in the business sector, and we just need to work together, Sally. That's the only solution.
Minister de Lille, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of delighted people to hear that because tourism has such massive potential. One of the criticisms of the Tottenham deal is that being aware of South Africa is not the whole story, because people will be aware of South Africa most likely because of Nelson Mandela. But the problems and the concerns they will encounter, I would argue, first will be the crime rate, second will be load shedding. Has there been discussion about how you're able to market to people despite those very real problems?
Definitely. This is coming up in our discussions all the time. Sally, millions of people around the world, they are aware about South Africa. They are aware about the offerings and the tourism products that's available and value for money. But what we need to do now is to convert them so that they can take that decision and decide, I'm going to book my ticket to go to South Africa, knowing that I will be safe, and knowing that there will be, together with all of the other South Africans, there will be enough security. And already some people have been trained. Just yesterday in my consultation with business, I think it was the Cullinan Group, that Mr. Mike Tolman, I'm learning all their names, where I said to you, Mike, you come with a plan. Let's see how we put our resources together so that we can convince those people who are afraid to come to our country that it's safe to come here. So I'm really looking forward to Mike's plan, that we can put our heads together and work together.
Well, Minister, this sounds really exciting, and I wish you great success, because we certainly do need to catch a break in the tourism sector. Thank you so much. Thank you for chatting to us this evening. Tourism Minister Patricia de Lille there. That Tottenham Hotspur deal absolutely officially off, but lots of discussions with private tourism players about what to do next, both to market South Africa effectively despite our problems and really capitalise on this beautiful country that we have.